Welcome to creating interactive whiteboards for use in your classroom. It's a great opportunity to learn a new skill. For many of you who have never had an opportunity to use the interactive whiteboards, you will find them beneficial, especially in the breakout room arena where you can give students an activity to work on. You can give them the direction sheet, you can give them a check sheet as well, all on one board. All right, let's get started. The first thing we want to do is to bring in, you want to create the ambiance of your board. I've decided to go with a space theme. So I found just a blank, dark, space-looking picture with stars, and I'm going to expand it, drag it, until it covers the entire board. You can do this in your classroom, in your virtual office. You can do it as a part of your plan process as you're creating a new whiteboard. All three of those occasions are great for creating the board, and then you just save them when you're done. The issue with the background is you don't want it to move. So you're going to be right-clicking on your mouse and you are going to group the background as background. That way, no matter what you click on, it's not going to move. All right, the second piece, I want to add a little ambiance to our board. I'm going to bring in a heavenly body and I'm going to place it as I please. And I want a little astronaut just to give a little fun to the board. Those are my pieces that I do not want to move. I also want them as a part of the background. So I'm going to right click and group as background. I'm going to do the same to the astronaut. Now you'll notice that no matter where the students click on that, those pieces are solidified. Now, the title of my board, I'm going to work with a couple of different skills here. I'm going to work with mean. I'm going to work with median. And I'm going to work with mode on this particular board. Now those words also I do not want to move around, so I'm going to right click. Let's see here. I need to get back to my blue tool. I need to highlight the word and I'm going to group as background. Highlight the next word, group as background, and finally the mode. Alrighty. All right, the next piece that I'm going to bring in are going to be the movable parts. I've decided on a star, but he's awfully big. You will notice that there's no white around him. That's the one difficulty that you have when you're looking for pictures. If you have a white background on your board, there makes no difference if you have a picture that's surrounded by white border. But for a lot of these, I don't want the white border showing. I just want the star to look as though it's in the sky. So I have sized it the way I want it. I'm going to click on the A, and because the microphone here is, there we go, I can scoot that down just a bit. I'm going to change the size of my font. I'm going to place the letter or the number 1, and I can center it by clicking on my blue arrow and moving him wherever I want. I want those pieces to be solid. I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose just to group those objects. Now the only thing I've grouped at this point is the star and the number, because ultimately I want these two pieces to operate together. I want a couple of those number ones in case I want to incorporate more than just the one in what we're doing on the board. So I can just click Control, Copy, Control C and Control V to copy as many of these as I want. And then I'm just going to place them one on top of the other here in a pile. Now, one of these I'm going to pull aside because I want to right click and highlight. I'm dragging down, right clicking, and I have the opportunity to ungroup the object. And the reason for that is I want to change this number. I'm going to double click inside the box there, backspace, and put my number 2 in. Now I have my number 2. I'm going to right click, drag it across, and group the objects. Again, I don't want them grouped as background, I just want to group them together. I'm going to copy those by highlighting the object with the number attached and click Control C and then copy, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, until I have as many copies as I wish of that particular one. You will continue this process. Let me just show you one more time how to change that number on the final piece here. I'm going to right-click and drag down over so everything is highlighted. I am going to ungroup the objects. That leaves my number and my star detached from one another. I'm going to double click inside the box, backspace, and put my number 3 in there. Now I need to group it all back together by right-clicking, dragging down across so everything's highlighted, and you're only grouping those objects so that that can move. And then you're just copy and pasting that particular star until you have it. This will allow you to utilize the board, and I'll show you in just a minute. That is how you get the movable pieces. That's how you get the setting put in. The hard work is finding the pictures and the theme that you want for each board. So let me just give you a little flavor for what we do in the elementary department. For example, the one thing I like to add to my boards is a direction sheet, because it allows any teacher to go in and utilize my board and understand my thinking. It's very difficult to look at a board and try to guess how that teacher used it, but if you have a little direction sheet, the direction sheet was created just by using your, you could use either your circle tool or your filled in square tool. Just draw a box, do the writing, use your writing tool. The capital A rather than one with the lines on it would be a better choice, because that way you can alter the lines as you want them. Write your directions, and then you're going to group those together so that this piece can be pushed out of the way. The nice thing about the direction sheet is that when students go into a breakout room, let's say they haven't been paying attention right at the moment you flip them in, how many times do you have a student say, I have no idea what we're supposed to do in here? The direction sheet is right there. They can read through the directions and understand the process themselves with their partners. When they understand the directions, they can just push this right out of the way so it doesn't have to take up a lot of space. The other thing we have in here, I have pushed off to the side, and your students will know that over a period of time, is an answer key, so that when they're in a breakout room together, they can check and verify their work using the answer key. The puppies are movable. Now what I've done is I found the picture of the dog, I placed on it the round circle, and then on top of the round circle I took my writing tool and I put the number on the circle, and I tied it all together by grouping the objects. Again, that's a right click, it's a dragging over all the pieces, and you're grouping it as objects, not as background, because you want them to move. You can undo the process as well by ungrouping them, but this will allow you to move the puppies to whether they're prime or composite. It's just a fun way to do it. The background picture adds a little special flavor to the board. The next one, perhaps you're working with a younger group who's working with sorting or categorizing. We've put special transportation pictures. The students can come and grab their transportation. They could sort anything that you want them to sort. It could be sorting of shapes. You want to try to create boards that are usable over and over, something that you won't have to recreate each time. If you find yourself with a few minutes left in class or a breakout room where one group is done and the rest, you can pop one of these interactive boards into the group that's finished and they'll be able to participate. Here we have sentences that we've created. The sentence is missing its preposition, and it's allowing the student to grab a preposition from the shelf and place it in the sentence. Again, we have the direction sheet pushed off to the side. The shelving unit just gives a little bit of ambiance to the room. We'd call it our preposition storage room. Paragraphs in order. Here we have a box at the bottom. The theme, of course, was around Thanksgiving time. We put the sentences down here. This board is not as usable on a regular basis, but you can certainly change these sentences around. You can use the basic premise of the board. The students pull the sentences out. Here's our direction sheet again off to the side. Once the students are done with it, I always try to save the board with the direction sheet in the middle so that every time it pops up for the students, the sentences are all in the storage box down here, and then they can move them around to make a sensible paragraph, sentences in order. Alrighty, for example, fact families. The students have troubles with the addition and the subtraction and how they're related. I made the sums in a different color so that they wouldn't get confused. So that in the addition, the sum is going to be blue, and in the subtraction, the sum is going to be the first number to help them get their fact family straight. Fact and opinion. Placed a picture on the board, something that's engaging for the students. The direction sheet is here. I'm going to push it off to the side and reveal the statements underneath. And the statements are going to either be a fact or an opinion. This bedroom has a wooden floor. That's a fact. So I'm going to push it off to this side. The car on the wall, the cars on the wall are cool. Well, that's somebody's opinion. And then you can also include an answer key with this as well. Cold hard cash. This is a board that you'll be able to use over and over again. I have placed the coins on the board. I have tried to keep them so that they are size-wise appropriate in comparison to the other coins. We've placed some sports equipment off to the left. We're going to buy each piece of sports equipment. The students can utilize this by themselves in their breakout room or in class with you. Using the up arrow tool, everything moves except those things that you've placed as background. You can use this over and over again because you can set the price. It can be 27 cents. For younger classes, you could add dollar bills to this board. The cash register is merely background piece for ambiance. But you would be able to utilize this in many different ways. This one's a fun one. The goal is to, the circles around the outside are to give them the idea of what sums they're working with. The direction sheet we can push off to the side. As we answer, the students can do this. You can give them the tools as you're asking them the question. They can pick which one they want to answer. When they find the correct answer, 14, they can put the card down here and you're revealing a piece of the picture that is underneath. The picture is solidified as part of the background. And then the pieces I put on top are movable. I have attached the number sentence to the regular square, and then I've simply placed them around here. Now here's the thing, when you save the board, you're going to save it as it is. So you want to make sure that as you save this board, all the pieces are lined up, because as you save it, that's how it's going to pop up for the students. So each time you save this to your file, you want it all put together and I would not have placed these colors together. I would have separated them, but place it the way you want it and then save the board to your file. Alrighty, that's a sample of some of the types of boards we put together in the elementary department. We utilize these boards at the spur of the moment. Let's say you have an emergency in your classroom, you have to step out of class for a minute, you can pop one of these boards in a breakout room, and it will allow you to function throughout calmly, put them in your file, and have them ready to go. All right, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. Mine can be reached at carol.newell, carol.newell, at pacyber.org. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.